let me talk about who we are. We were introduced briefly by Stephanie, but we're from Olivet Nazarene University, which is about 50 miles south of Chicago in Bourbonnais, Illinois. And we are also the summer home of the Chicago Bears. They start training camp this week, so they'll be on our campus. So if you ever want to see a Bears practice, if you're a Bears fan, come on over and check it out. Like she said, I'm the Senior Director of Faculty and the General Education Program Director.
And I'm Stacey Moore, the Director of Faculty Development and Support.
So we want to start off with some audience participation here. This will be the only thing you have to participate in. We're not going to break into groups or anything like that, so don't worry. But I want you to get out your phones or tablets or whatever, and I want you to think in one word, how would you describe your current adjunct faculty culture? Think about that for a moment. In one word, how would you describe your current adjunct faculty culture? So on your phone, I want you to text to the number 22333. All right, we'll have that up on the screen. So to the number 22333, text ONU 476, and that'll join you in this poll. We're going to do a quick online poll. So to the number 22333, text ONU 476. Once you join, then you can text that one word that you would use to describe your current adjunct faculty culture. Everybody getting it okay? You're joining all right? 22333.
Don't text more than one word, just one word.
Yeah, just one word. Keep it clean, too. So this is going to go up on the screen. And as we start to get some words here, we want to get an idea of kind of what we're looking at and maybe how you would describe your culture. So we've got one there, disconnected. All right, good. Somebody who successfully joined. All right. Majority. One word, two words, it'll be weird. So they'll get broken up and it'll look
disjointed.
Disjointed, stressed. All
stressed.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just say it?
Yeah.
Sure. Alienated. All right, alienated. Good.
Lost. Overtaxed. Stagnant.
All right, good. Just a few more here. We'll take a couple more seconds to do this.
I won't go through. Can I just say fragmented?
Fragmented. All right. Fragmented. Absolutely. Transient.
Uninformed.
Ah, all right.
Glad you're here. Redheaded stepchild. That's not one word, but thank you. That's awesome.
What was that one?
Redheaded stepchild.
Redheaded stepchild. All right.
And hyphens.
Yeah, you could hyphenate it. Absolutely. All right. Anything positive? That's okay. You can put something positive on here too. Yeah. Good. All right. We're gonna switch back. I want you to keep this in mind though, because I think you've come to the right place. We're gonna deal with some things that I think will help you to potentially start to make some culture shifts and change that from being stressed and overtaxed and alienated and disconnected. And we want to start to talk about connection. And that's not to say that there's not stress, that you don't have adjunct faculty who feel disconnected. I mean, that's never going to go away. But we're going to start talking about some of those things today. So I'm going to turn it over to Stacey.
So I'd like to start describing our adjunct faculty life cycle. This is a condensed version of our specific life cycle that we use for our institution. I'm going to walk you through it real quick. If you want our version of it, you're welcome to contact me afterwards, but this is very basic. Onboarding and training, consisting of our HR paperwork, our Canvas training modules, first assignment, our mentor program we're going to discuss here in just a little bit, review and assessment of that first course and that mentor program, additional assignments, additional training and development, and annual review. And what we found is the last 2.5 to 3 years that we've been in our positions, we've been spending a majority of our time here, figuring out the most effective way to assign our faculty, to give them what they need as far as development and training, to review and assess them, working with our program directors. And we've spent so much time here working on our processes, wanting to streamline those processes and procedures. And we shifted our focus to these top things. And it's here that we're going to dive into the details. This is really where we've seen our culture shift, is when we spend time here in the training assignment and specifically our mentor program. Before we go on, Canvas is great. We've had Canvas for almost 3 years now, and it's been amazing. We absolutely love it. But we do need to say that we at our institution have some amazing support structures already in place. We have a faculty help desk that is solely dedicated to adjunct faculty. That just consists of a phone and an email address. We have an LMS team that works specifically with our curriculum and our delivery and curriculum development. Our assessment team, academic support teams, they're amazing. But what really helps us is an administration that supports and encourages us and is behind us 100%. And that's been great for us going forward. I want to talk just briefly about our instructor information. I understand this is all basic, but again, part of our life cycle. We obviously have training modules in Canvas. They are self-enrolled training modules with minimal registration required. So we have about 500 adjuncts at our university on the books. And so as much as we can automate, as much as we can have them self-enroll, the better. We have 3 specific training modules for faculty training modules. We call them FAC trains. So our first one is just about our institution, about Olivet Nazarene University's graduate and continuing studies, which is the grad school, and what they need to know about a little bit of history about us, why we exist, and then our second training module is the essential. So what do they need to know in order to teach for us? So we throw that information in a self-paced training module. And the third training module that we have is Canvas faculty orientation. What does Canvas provide? What in Canvas do they need to know in order to be a successful instructor? Simple assessment, again, for completion. And we always want to continuously update those faculty training modules. For example, we had a chaplain that we hired about a year ago. So we were able to put his contact information and his purpose. He's available to our students and our faculty. So we wanted all of our new instructors to know about that, obviously. So we put that in the training modules, but we also needed to communicate that to our existing faculty, and we did that via a newsletter. We have a monthly newsletter. So we're continuously communicating. We're continuously striving to be better and evaluating and improving. Training that we just talked about in the faculty training modules really highlights everything that they need to know to teach for us, and that revolves around our expectations.
So I'm going to talk about our expectations for just a moment. And for those of you taking notes, anything that you see here today, if you'd like to talk to us afterwards, if you'd like copies of anything, feel free to let us know. We've got some business cards here, and we'll make it available to you. And all this will eventually be available as well in the Canvas community. So, feel free to take notes, obviously. Stay engaged. So Stacey just talked about the first 3 training modules for our new faculty and the self-paced modules that they go through and giving them the basics of what they need to know to teach for us. But they're not ready to teach for us. And so we have a more robust course that I'm going to talk about here in just a moment. But we start by introducing a community of inquiry model for learning. How many of you are familiar with the community of inquiry? Some of you. Okay, I've got the source on here. You'll be able to check that out. But the community of inquiry basically talks about 3 aspects of presence, of instructor presence in an online course. The first is teaching presence. The second is cognitive presence. And the third is social presence. All of this, when we're intentional about making sure all of these aspects of presence occur in the online course, we find that we have a much more successful course, a much more successful student experience as well. So we're very intentional about communicating these expectations to our instructors, that this is the model, this is the theoretical framework for what undergirds everything that we do and how we want our online courses to function. So I'm going to talk about this just briefly and what this is. So our online expectations then that we communicate to all of our faculty, this is what we expect you to do in the online courses. All of these expectations are connected to those aspects of the community of inquiry. So we connect it all. For example, teaching presence is just presenting the course information, lecture, videos, the content basically. And a lot of instructors, they come to us and they think that's it. You just take what we did face-to-face and you just throw it online. And you have a great online course. And we're like, no, that is not how this works. We've got to go much deeper than this. This is a start. But the next is cognitive presence. How how the instructor facilitates learning, how the instructor helps the students to make meaning from what they're learning. And this can happen in many different ways, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And the third is social presence, and this is extremely important, and we really highlight this with our instructors. It's the instructors engaging the students, being a real person online, being a face, having a face and voice tone and intonation, and students being able to see that they have a real instructor, and also creating a community and an environment where students can get to know one another as well. And that can be tough to do in a 6-week course or an 8-week course online. But we want to do our best here and instruct our instructors to try and make this happen, and we give them all the tools so that they can do that. And what we've done as well is we've added around this, we sort of wrapped around this a fourth aspect of presence called institutional presence. And this is the unique representation of the university. So Olivet Nazarene University is a small, private Christian institution in the Midwest. That's who we are. And so whenever our instructors are teaching, whenever they're helping our students make meaning, whenever they are socially engaged in the course, we want them also to be representing the university. And so that's why we try and do a really good job up front of communicating with our instructors who we are as an institution and letting them know what our history is and what we believe, so that they can communicate that with our students as well. So let me talk about the online expectations a little bit more deeply here. The teaching presence happens, and this is just a snapshot. This is not an all-inclusive list, but the teaching presence happens in a few different ways. Number one, we want our instructors to provide personalized, concise, weekly announcements, both written and text and video. So we want them to do the full gamut, a lot of different modalities that they communicate weekly with the students, in addition to lecture material. That may be flat text, it may be video. We try to do a lot of different ways to communicate that. We want our instructors to respond to questions from the students within 24 hours. And we don't think in a 6-week course that this is too ambitious. Many of our instructors respond much more quickly than that, and we obviously encourage that. But 24 hours is the max that they've got to respond to a question, whether it's via email, whether it's via phone, or somewhere in the Canvas discussion forum, the questions for the instructor forum, which we have in there. So our instructors have to be locked into those things so that they can respond to student questions pretty quickly. We want them to grade all assignments within 7 days. This can be challenging. And so they know our expectation is that assignments due on a Sunday at 11:59 p.m., and the student's going to have that back with feedback no later than the following Sunday. And I got to tell you, we communicate this, we hammer it over and over and over again, and we're not always successful with this. We have students who call and complain because they are aware that the instructor has the expectation of 7 days and say, hey, it's been 12 days. I don't have my paper back yet. And so it's an ongoing process. It's a work in progress. We don't have this perfected, but these are the expectations that we communicate with teaching presence. And that's just a snapshot. Cognitive presence, let's talk about that. So this one, I'll explain this a little bit more in detail, but we want our instructors to author approximately 20% of all posts through the week in each forum. So you have a discussion forum, and we want our instructors to be engaged in there, and we give them sort of the baseline of 20%. So if there's 100 student posts in there, or if there's 100 posts, then they will have authored about 20 of them. And that's sort of a good sort of benchmark for them. We're not going to look at this and evaluate it to the number, but we tell them this is the expectation, and this is what the research in the community of inquiry tells us. If they're authoring 30% or more, students might find that they are too engaged, that the instructor is too engaged in the course, and students can tend to pull back because they feel like, I can't say anything without the instructor chiming in. Or if the instructor authors only about 10% of all discussion forum posts, then they're like, hey, my instructor's not really engaged at all. There's not application here. And so 20% is a good benchmark, and we strive for our instructors to do that, and we teach them how to do that and how to regulate themselves as well. We'll talk about a tool here in just a moment for that. We want our instructors to provide a variety of posts, whether it's orienting, summarizing, redirecting, a lot of different options, a lot of different ways they can communicate in the discussion forum. Not just affirming, not just correcting, but sometimes they have to go in and they have to drag the discussion back to the topic at hand. I think we've all been there. And sometimes, they need to keep pushing further and push those students to dive deeper to the second and the third and the fourth levels of discussion. Cognitive presence also happens through a variety of feedback, both positive and instructional. and we want them to utilize the speed grader, the rubrics that are in the courses to provide this feedback. They can provide audio feedback through Canvas and the speed grader. They can provide video feedback, obviously utilizing the rubrics as well as text feedback too. So how many of you, just by show of hands, have utilized the audio or video feedback option in the speed grader? Awesome. So you know what I'm talking about. It's an incredible feature. Once students get that, they love it. And they're like, I feel like my instructor was right there, you know, coaching me and teaching me and helping me. And it helped the feedback that they gave on my paper, it helped it make sense and come alive. So we really encourage that for cognitive presence. Social presence, obviously our instructors include biographical information before the course starts, who they are, so our students can get to know them as a person. And they respond to every single student in the introduction forum. So this is the one forum in each course that instructors need to respond to every single student. They're not just going to author 20% of the posts here. They're going to respond to every single student in the introduction forum because students come into these courses with a lot of anxiety. They may be working adults who are balancing a full-time job and a family, and they're coming back to school, and some of the technology may be unfamiliar or uncomfortable for them. And it's really easy to lose students in this first week. And so we want our faculty to really engage these students in the introduction, get to know them as a person, bring them in and say, hey, welcome to the class. You know, I know you struggled with this video post, but you're doing great. We'll work on this together and be really engaging in that first introduction forum. So that really helps solidify social presence. We want our instructors to be visible in the course at least 5 out of every 7 days. So they don't have to be in the course making a post every 7 days. But at least 5 out of 7 days. So our students know that the instructor is there, that they're engaged. And this can be a variety of different ways they can be engaged. Discussion forum, feedback, posting in questions for the instructor, posting announcements, posting a video, delivering a lecture, a lot of different options there. And to that end, we want our instructors to be present with both the video, audio, and text announcements and feedback. So using all of those different modalities, we want them to do that. So that it's not just flat text, and it's not just video as well. We want them to really mix it up. And all of that, then, we ask them to, again, uniquely represent the university, who we are as a university. Small, private, Christian, Midwestern university located just south of Chicago. We want the representation of the university to be present in all of what the instructors do, teaching, cognitive, and social-wise. And then specifically from there, Stacey talked about, we communicate these expectations in our first 3 faculty trainings that are self-paced, but we have a much more robust course that then once they finish those first 3 courses, we then enroll them in an introduction to online teaching course. So I'm going to talk about that for just a moment. This is a 6-week self-paced course, or not self-paced, excuse me, instructor-led course, 6-week instructor-led course that all of our new faculty are required to take and go through. And this is a requirement that has played a huge factor in really shifting the culture of our adjunct faculty. And it's been a work in progress. It's been a real challenge. We were just really launching this course last year at this time. When I was here at InstructureCon last year, I was actually teaching one of these courses during the conference. And so it's a newer requirement that we have over the past year. But our new faculty, they're eager, they're thankful for the opportunity to be further trained, and maybe they've had some online training before, but they're thankful for the opportunity to really learn about our expectations, who we are as a university, and what we really expect of them from a teaching, cognitive, and social, and even institutional perspective. But the other part of this that's been really helpful in changing the culture is that we're requiring all of our faculty who have been teaching for us already to go through this course too. Our veteran faculty have given us, from time to time, a little bit of pushback, as can be expected. And so we communicate up front what we're trying to do in building a culture where our faculty feel connected to the university, where they feel supported, where they feel developed, where they feel trained, where they feel equipped to do their job. And our program directors, our administration are really supportive of this as well. And so our program directors really drive the narrative with our veteran faculty when they object or push back just a little bit. And generally what we've found is that at the end of it, they're like, hey, this was a lot of work, but this was worth it. I'm glad I went through this. You know, I learned things about teaching online that I didn't know before. And I learned more about what you as an institution are about. And The reality is, through this course, we've also been able to weed out some underperforming faculty. We don't grade them necessarily. It's more of a complete incomplete, but they get a lot of feedback from the instructor who's leading this. They're really engaged in the course. And we have faculty who sometimes will say, you know what, this is too much. I'm not on board for this. This is not what I had in mind when it comes to online teaching, and this is not what I plan to do. And so we're able to have those conversations with them and basically weed them out. And some of them self-select out when they take the Introduction to Online Teaching course. And, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. So let me give you a snapshot really quickly of the course. Like I said, it's a 6-week instructor-led course. This is not an all-inclusive list, but this is just some of the highlights. So what we do is we practice video introductions. The instructors are in there as a student. They're in the student role, so they have to post a video introduction just like their students are going to do. So they have to clear that first hurdle. And, I'm always surprised at how tough this is for some of them, especially our veteran faculty. It's like, you've been teaching for us for 5 years and you can't post an introduction video? But they get through it. We work with them. We get them through it. And once they clear that first hurdle, they feel much more comfortable with the rest of the course. And they also recognize, okay, this is what our students have to do. We introduce the community of inquiry as that theoretical framework for the foundation and the undergirding of our online instruction. And so we asked them in one assignment to find 3 articles in a peer-reviewed scholarly journal, and do an annotated bibliography, post a brief 300-word reflection on that, just to kind of get them introduced to the community and what we're really talking about. We talk about best practices of online versus face-to-face. So a lot of them come to us with experience with face-to-face instruction, and they think, again, you just throw it online, right? You just type out the lectures, maybe you record a video. But we talk about how the best practices are different, and sometimes what you do face-to-face does not translate well online. And so we have discussions around these, and they're engaged. And the instructor, which I'm one of the instructors for this course, the instructor as well, I'm trying to model good discussions. So I'm trying to engage with the students and author about 20% of the posts in these discussion forums with the faculty, so they see what that expectation looks like from the faculty perspective. We spent an entire week on social presence, because what we found is that social presence, when the instructors really know how to engage the students socially on multiple levels in different ways, the teaching and the cognitive presence comes out. It comes out stronger. Students, they're more engaged with the feedback that they get from the instructor because they recognize their instructor as a real person, as somebody who's right there with them. So we spent an entire week on this with different discussion forums. And like I said, the instructor models effective discussions and what we expect of them and what that looks like. Also, we do a grade calibration exercise in the speed grader. So we shift and we move to an IoT sandbox where then the faculty are all enrolled as teachers with that role. They get a sample discussion forum, a sample paper. They grade those using the speed grader, the rubrics. They practice with the audio feedback. And as a class, they review each other's feedback and what they've done, and then they go back to the regular class as students, and they post in the discussion forum. And they have a discussion about what they learned by reviewing what other instructors have graded and how they've graded. And sometimes we find pretty wide discrepancies. One discussion forum, somebody gives it a 65%, somebody else gives it a 95%. And so we talk about why that is. We're not trying to turn them into robots who all grade the same, but at the same time, we want to recognize sometimes nursing faculty may have different expectations than faculty in our MBA program, for example. And so we talk about that, and that's a really valuable 2 weeks, actually, that we spend in the Introduction to Online Teaching course. So I'm going to turn it back over here in just a moment to Stacey. And like I said, all of that, if you want that, we can get that to you as well. We can get you more information as well, but all this will be available to you.
So going back to our faculty life cycle that we started off with, everything that we've talked about thus far, the training modules, the expectations, which are huge for our adjunct faculty, and our Introduction to Online Teaching course, which we refer to it as the IoT. Those are all in the onboarding and training. We're not even into our first assignment yet. So that's what we're going to look at next, is our first assignment in our mentor program. Our mentor program is a requirement for all of our new faculty. They're paired with a mentor for their first course. These mentors are our seasoned faculty. There's an element of trust that we have with them because we know them. They've taught for us for a while. Their training, the mentor training, is a webinar, a 45-minute webinar, and some additional application and training. I think there's a training module in Canvas as well. We have a mentor timeline so that our new faculty, our mentee, our new faculty and our mentor know how to walk through their first assignment together. And what we expect out of our mentors, in addition to what we expect out of our new instructors via the online expectations. We're going to walk through a mentor evaluation rubric in just a second, but we have one of these. And obviously, they're teaching in Canvas. They've been trained in Canvas. They know Canvas. Canvas is awesome. So it gives them another opportunity to learn the tools. So taking the online expectations that we covered and that we have more details about if you wanted to contact us later. This is just, again, a snapshot. So you have the community of inquiry reference at the top under the teaching presence. You have the description underneath, and then you have the specifics. So for example, this one, student success, we're asking them to provide the students just a basic announcement, some way that they tell the students how they prefer to be communicated with. A lot of them teach for other institutions or have a full-time job, and so maybe they're only available at night. Well, we need to have the students know that up front so that their expectations from that instructor is put in the course and is known. And so we have our mentors. Again, they're meeting with them at the beginning of the course. They're assigned. This is a requirement. They have to do this no matter if they're great at online teaching or not. Midpoint, we get to walk through this rubric with the instructors and just kind of see if they did this or if not. And then there's an element of where they can use the final evaluation at the end of the course to see if there needs to be some adjustments. So like pointing out maybe what they missed for the online expectations, and then if they actually were able to complete that at the end of the course. Again, another quick snapshot. The community of inquiry reference above, the details and the specifics. These specifics, again, are taken directly from our online expectations, which again is imperative for all of our online instructors to know. Okay, so tools. Aspire EDU is awesome, and we really, really, really like their instructor insight. This helps us mine the data in Canvas to give our instructors and our mentors and the administration the information about how our instructor is doing in that course. We can see from the Aspire EDU, Instructor Insight dashboard how many ungraded assignments there are, just in a simple click. We can see the distribution scale of their grading in a simple click in a bar graph. It also compares what they've done to their peers and how often an instructor posts to a discussion. Again, that's one of our expectations, and Instructor Insight is a great tool. We really cannot say enough about Aspire EDU and their staff. Their customer service is just amazing. So if they're here and you haven't had a chance to go talk with them or meet with them, we really cannot say enough about that company.
We'll have their contact information up at the end of this as well, Kim and Chris Monzo from Aspire EDU. I will say one more thing. So our mentors are using Instructor Insight. It's available in the course. Our mentors go in, and that's where they get the information about the 20%, for example, of discussion forum posts. They can see every single day if an instructor is, just really dominating and bullying their way through the discussion forums and micromanaging their students, or if they're, authoring 3% of discussion posts in a course and they're not hardly present at all. So Instructor Insight gives us all of that information, gives our mentors all that information so they can evaluate it during the course, at the halfway point, and certainly at the end, and then follow up with the mentee. One other tool that we use is Evaluation Kit. It's integrated with our course, and Evaluation Kit is the tool that we use for our end of course surveys. And we started with Evaluation Kit a little over a year ago, and what we have found is that our response rates on end of course surveys have gone up from about 25% to over 75% because it's integrated within Canvas. In addition to that, the feedback from the end of course surveys is available right away. And we get nice charts and graphs and statistical analysis of the feedback that students provide. And so our mentors can see that, and they can evaluate their new instructor. Our new instructors can see it right away. They don't have to wait 6 weeks or 8 weeks for a report to be generated, but they can see that all pretty quickly. Our program directors can see it. So this new instructor, they know they're being evaluated along the way, and they're supported and helped, and that we're coming alongside them in every single way. I even had a conversation with a nursing program director the other day who was talking about some of her faculty who have only a 75% response rate on their EOCs, and they're trying to have a competition to see if they can get it higher. And I love the fact that 75% now is considered low for us. It's giving us real statistically significant data that we can use. So I would encourage you to talk with them as well at Evaluation Kit. Peter Pravikoff is presenting just down the hall here currently right now, but we'll have his contact information as well. Visit them, talk to them about Evaluation Kit. Because it's a wonderful tool that we are so thankful that we got connected with. So the life cycle. So we've talked about the onboarding and training, that first piece, the first assignment that Stacey talked about with the mentor and the mentor program, and this is basically where we're at right now. So all told, our new faculty have come in, and this is already taken somewhere between 12 and 20 weeks, depending. So it's a pretty robust, pretty lengthy process. But we found, as we said earlier, we spent so much time on the bottom half of the faculty life cycle, and we were trying to do so many corrections and change behavior. But if we spend a lot of time at the first part of this faculty life cycle, we don't have to make such drastic corrections because our faculty know exactly what's expected of them from the very beginning. And we tell them up front when they interview with us, hey, you're gonna go through a pretty robust training process. So we're in the mentor program now. Stacey talked about that. And the next phase then is the review and assessment. And this has been, I call it a game changer for us. So our new faculty have been mentored. The mentor has evaluated them. The mentor has reviewed that evaluation with the new faculty. They've sent it into us. And now what Stacey and I do is we meet with every new faculty member after this is complete. So we have a 30-minute Skype meeting. I call it a post-mortem because it's basically what they need. It's the end of their training. It's the end of their onboarding, and they need this final piece. They need to clear this final hurdle to then be approved to go on and teach an additional course. So we meet with every new adjunct faculty member. This creates connection with the university and the staff. They see us face to face. We do it via Skype. We've had one come into the office and meet with us, but most of the time it's with Skype. They see us face to face. They see the connection, and it demonstrates to them that, hey, we really care about you. We support you. We want to train you, and we are here for you the whole time. Stacey talked about the faculty help desk, which is our email and phone helpline for all of our adjunct faculty. We want to make sure that all of our faculty know that they've met with me, the Senior Director of Faculty. They know they're supported, that they're not alone, even if they only teach 1 or 2 courses a year for us, which may be the case, that we're going to be there with them all the way through, and that they know that we want them to succeed. Because when they succeed, our students succeed. When our students succeed, our students stay in the course, and when our retention rate increases, then we all get raises. So I have a brief, this follow-up meeting and this post-mortem that we have with them. I ask these questions. It's very simple. I ask the new faculty, what went well for you? We start off with something positive, and they talk about what went well during the course. What didn't go so well? And I'm amazed at how self-critical they are and how they honestly open up about things they didn't do well and things that they could have done better. And so I asked them, what did you learn? I asked them, what did you notice from your end of course survey? They've already reviewed that data. I have that data in front of me. I can share my screen with them and put it up there for them, and so we can review it again together. What advice did your mentor have for you and the mentor's evaluation? And so I have that in front of me as well, and I asked them, what are you going to do better next time? What are 1 or 2 things that you think you can improve on next time? And they love this. They feel encouraged, supported, like we're not there just telling them what they did wrong, but I'm asking them to tell me how they're going to do better. And they're very self-critical, they're very open and honest, and it's been a great process. We've had one faculty member come through this process where she said, you know what, I think I need another course with a mentor. And I was like, wow, that's great. We can do that for you, absolutely. And this is the final piece that they need to move on to the next phase, the review and assessment piece.
All right, I think we have just a couple minutes left. But one of the reasons we wanted to share this with you is because at the end of those mentor program reviews, those meetings, we have heard some great things, and which is why we wanted to bring this to you today. Trent says adjuncts feel like we're on an island. We heard some of this morning when we did our word cloud. The mentor program was the most valuable part of my first course assignment, and it created community for me. We're meeting them face-to-face via Skype, and we're telling them again that they're supported and that we appreciate them. Mary said she feels totally supported in her role like nothing she's ever experienced before. And Paulette, a nursing instructor, not sure I would have made it through my first course without my mentor. Our nursing programs are a little more difficult, and these are actual quotes from those mentor follow-up meetings. And again, one of the reasons why we wanted to come and present this to you today.
So I want to ask you, what is your institution doing to build culture? What are you doing? We looked at some of those words to describe culture at the beginning, and a lot of them were negative. What are you doing to build culture? So you are building culture one way or another, for good or for bad. So what are you doing to be intentional to build a positive culture of connection, of support, of development? Are you actively supporting your adjuncts? Are you actively communicating with them? Are you reiterating expectations and policies and communicating and re-communicating and communicating again? Are you finding ways to strengthen your faculty through development and training? Are you actively leveraging Canvas to build a faculty culture? These are all questions that I would encourage you to ask yourself and evaluate yourself and find ways to build that culture for the positive. So here's our contact information. We do have some cards up here as well, but I'll put this back up in just a moment. We also have the contact information for Chris Munzo with Aspire EDU and Peter Pravikoff with Evaluation Kit. I encourage you to talk to those two and visit them. Incredibly helpful customer service and support. Obligatory references, community of inquiry. In case you're interested, I encourage you to check that out as well. And I'll put it back here. And do we have time for any questions? 2 questions, great. All right, so because of the video, we'll need to speak into the microphone. So Stacey's going to turn her microphone off. I've got 2 right here, so we'll start here.
Sure, thank you. So my question is around recruiting your mentors. It seems like they're such an important part of this process. So do you either financially incentivize them, or is the expectation that if you yourself went through the process, you kind of pay it forward? But how do you recruit, retain, incentivize, motivate, and monitor the quality of your mentors?
Yeah, absolutely. We do incentivize them, first of all. So we have money built into our budget to incentivize them. It's not a ton. I think they get paid $500 for a course to mentor. And we put this out with the webinar training that we did. We asked all of our seasoned faculty, do you want to be a mentor? And if they do, we told them the expectations. They applied. And we looked at their end of course survey evaluation of the past several years. We looked at their teaching prowess and whether we wanted them as a mentor. And so then we've done additional training with them as well. But yeah, we do incentivize them and encourage them. So, and it's great. What our mentors have found as well is that they see these new hungry adjuncts who want to get better, and the mentors are like, okay, I'm evaluating them, but I need to do better on this as well. And so it's great for them too. Great question. And one more question. We had a microphone. Oh, all right.
That could be loud.
It's right here.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Yeah, Neil Phillips, Valencia College, Orlando, Florida. One thing that stuck out for me was the data about how you compared with others, grade-wise, maybe grade distribution, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
At our school right now, that's a hot topic.
Yeah.
And very controversial because it's not uniform. You know, everybody has a different teaching method and maybe a little bit of a different content as well. Is your content uniform across? I mean, do you mandate, you got to do these certain things, or is it more autonomous like our school is? Because we're saying following that data and progression data, there's so many variables it might not be accurate.
Yeah. In terms of our course content, it's all templated, and we ask our instructors to then insert their own their personality, who they are, their experience into the course. So it's pretty standard in that regard. And as far as grade distribution, that's something we're working on. It's a work in progress. We still have instructors who they give all A's, and we're like, that can't be that can't be right, So yeah, great question, absolutely. But Aspire EDU Instructor Insight can give you that information on a daily basis. So we had one more question down here, and I'll repeat it if you want to ask it so that everyone can hear.
What do you attribute an evaluation kit that raised your rates from 20% to 75%? What's so different about it?
So the question was, what do I attribute to evaluation kit that raised the response rates from 25% to 75%? Number one, it is embedded in the LMS. When the survey opens, students get a pop-up message. They'll get a notification through their phone on the mobile app as well that comes across, your evaluation is ready. And every time they log into their course, that window is going to pop up until they take the survey. They can dismiss it. They can do that. That's fine. And it closes after a couple weeks. But for the most part, they're like, I'm going to just get this out of the way. And they take it. And we have our faculty as well, our new faculty too. We're telling them, make sure you talk to your students about the survey, encourage them to take it. And so there's, both elements working there. Great question. Hey, we're out of time. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. If you see us around today, we'll be wearing the purple shirts, so come talk to us. Thanks, everybody.